Welcome to High School Academic Derby, brought to you by the Onslow County Schools. Our scorekeeper for all of our matches today is Wanda Costner. The first game today pits the Early College team against Jacksonville, and let's meet their coaches and players now. Early College is coached by Deborah Kellum. Her players for this round will be
Jesse Johnson, freshman.
Colin Davis, freshman.
Alyssa Sabella, freshman.
Kara James, freshman.
The Jacksonville coach is Tony Zernheld, and his players are
Austin Daugherty, senior.
Julia Nazat, junior.
Lizzie Coleman, senior.
Kale Quintero, senior.
players. Your first toss-up has to do with islands. What island that was the scene of a prolonged battle toward the close of World War II became the site for Kadena Air Force Base and was returned to Japanese administration in 1972? Lizzie.
Midway Island.
Incorrect. Early College? And the answer is Okinawa. Your next toss-up deals with subatomic particles. Beta particles are emitted during beta decay. What is another name for the beta particle? Austin.
Electron.
That's correct. For your bonus, what occurs when a low-energy electron collides with a low-energy positron? Number 2, what happens to their masses when an electron and positron meet one another? Number 3, what hypothetical elementary particles are bound together by other hypothetical neutral particles called gluons? And number 4, what is the charge on an anti-neutron? Lizzie.
For number 1, we have hydrogen formed. For number 2, we have combine. For number 3, we have quarks. And for number 4, we have -1.
Number 3 is correct for 2 points. Early College, 1, 2, or 4.
For number 1, we have neutron. For number 2, we have they increase. And for number 4, we have positive.
Number 1, annihilation. Number 2, their masses are converted to energy. And number 4, the antineutron has no charge. Next toss-up deals with the Mid-East. What is a 2-word name for the region of Anatolia? The answer is Asia Minor. Sociology. Herbert Spencer said that within a society, groups compete with each other, and superior groups naturally dominate inferior groups. Named for a British naturalist, this philosophy is called social what? Cale.
Darwinism.
That's correct. For your bonus, number 1, marriage outside a specified group is to exogamy, as marriage inside a specified group is to what? Number 2, what concept was defined by a bunch of sociologists in this way? The cognitive affective state, characterized by intrusive and obsessive fantasizing concerning reciprocity of amorant feelings by the object of the amorance. Number 3, what kind of order is illustrated by this sequence? The auto shop is shut down and you lose your job. You go home and tell your spouse that dinner is slop. She grounds the kids because their room is dirty. They go kick the cat. Number 4, the ability to climb the socioeconomic ladder is what kind of mobility? Lizzie.
For number 1, we have endogamy. For number 3, we have chain of events. And for number 4, we have upward.
1 and 4 correct for 4 points. Early College, 2 or 3?
For number 3, we have chain of unfortunate events.
Number 2, they were defining love. And number 3, a pecking order it's called. Your next is a math toss-up. I'll read it twice for you. The denominator of a fraction is twice the numerator. But if each is increased by 4, the new fraction becomes 2/3. What is the original fraction? The denominator of a fraction is twice the numerator. But if each is increased by 4, the new fraction becomes 2/3. What is the original fraction? Time's run out on that one, players. The answer is 4/8. Your next toss-up deals with India. In the 20th century, India and Pakistan fought 2 wars over what region adjacent to both nations? The answer is the Kashmir. This next toss-up deals with poetry. What bird from the Ancient Mariner is missing from these lines? At length did cross and blank. Through the fog it came, as if it had been a Christian soul. We hailed it in God's name. Lizzie.
Albatross.
Albatross is right. For your bonuses, also dealing with poetry, number 1, name the wimpy character created by T.S. Eliot who suffered with such decisions as where he should part his hair and whether or not to eat a peach. Number 2, how many of them were there in the poem that includes these lines? Cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon behind them, volleyed and thundered. Number 3, name the poem by Longfellow whose title is taken from a banner emblazoned with a Latin word meaning higher.
Nancy Pete at the front office.
Number 4, in the poem The Second Coming, the author, William Yeats, finds that the West is disintegrating and is no longer bound by shared values. Give the 2 words that complete this line from the poem. Things fall apart, the center blank. Lizzie.
For number 1, we have Alfred Prufrock, and for number 2, we have 600.
Those are both correct for 4 points. Early college, 3 or 4?
For number 4, we have Outward.
Number 3, the answer is Excelsior. Number 4, the center cannot hold. Cannot hold are the 2 words. Our next toss-up deals with kinds of insurance. What type of insurance provides coverage for loss of income when illness or injury prevents a person from working? Colin.
Life insurance.
Incorrect. Jacksonville? The answer is disability insurance. Capital cities. What capital is closest to the Suez Canal? Austin.
Cairo.
Cairo is right. For your bonuses, number 1, Addis Ababa is the capital of what country? Number 2, the capitals of how many African countries are on or near to the Mediterranean? Number 3, Dar es Salaam is the capital of an African nation adjacent to what body of water? Number 4, the Mideast metropolis, widely regarded as the world's oldest city, is the capital of what modern and horribly troubled country? Lizzie.
For number 1, we have Ethiopia. For number 2, we have 5. For number 3, we have the Red Sea. And for number 4, we have Aleppo.
Number 1 is correct for 2 points. 2, 3, or 4, early college?
For number 3, we have the Atlantic.
For
And
which one?
3.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. The answer to number 2 was 3 countries, Algeria, Libya, and Egypt. For number 3 is the Indian Ocean, and for number 4, Syria. That's the end of our first round. We'll come back with our score in round 2 in just a moment.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
After the first round, our score was Jacksonville 20, Early College 0. We have a couple of new players to meet for our Early College team.
Cameron Davis, freshman.
Keyshawn Henry, freshman.
Toss-up number 1, players, deals with fields of science. Phytopathology is the study of diseases in what life forms? Kale.
Microscopic.
Incorrect. Early College. Keyshawn.
Cellular.
Plants. Next toss-up deals with grammar. A noun phrase may be used as the subject or as what other part of a sentence? Cameron.
The predicate.
I need a more specific answer, please.
The verb.
Incorrect. Jacksonville. Well, can be used as an object, a direct object, indirect object, or object of a preposition. Math toss-up, I'll read it twice. Divide 17 factorial by the product of 14 factorial and 3 factorial. Divide 17 factorial by the product of 14 factorial and 3 factorial. Colin. Incorrect. Jacksonville. Answer's 680. Plateaus. What plateau is bounded by the Aegean Sea to the west, the Black Sea to the north, the Mediterranean Sea to the south, and Asia to the east? The Anatolian Plateau. Zoology. Antarctic penguins show little fear of humans when approached on land because their main predators, which hunt only in the water, are killer whales and what kind of seals? Leopard seals. Next toss-up deals with Shakespeare. About whom is Amelia referring in this quote from Othello? That handkerchief thou speak'st of I found by fortune, and did give my husband. For often with a solemn earnestness, more than indeed belonged to such a trifle, he begged of me to steal it. This character is the play's villain. Lizzie.
Iago.
Iago is correct. For your bonus, also questions dealing with Shakespeare. Number 1, complete this quote attributed to Mark Antony. O pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these blank. Number 2. What words complete this Shakespearean line? a horse, my blank. 4-word answer. Number 3. The masks representing comedy and tragedy represent 2 Greek muses. Name either of them. Number 4. Name this play that I'm going to describe to you. A British king decides in his old age to divide his kingdom among his 3 daughters. He gives his land to the 2 who profess overwhelming love, but later turns to the one who just loved him as a child should. Lizzie.
For number 1, we have Hands. For number 2, we have Kingdom for a Horse. And for number 4, we have King Lear.
2 and 4 correct for 4 points. 1 or 3, early college.
We have nothing.
The word we're looking for number 1 is butchers, the assassins of Caesar. And for number 3, the 2 are Melpomene or Thalia, either one. Toss-up dealing with wars. In what war did Robert E. Lee and Ulysses Grant fight on the same side? Jesse.
Spanish War.
Incorrect. Jacksonville.
The
Austin.
Mexican-American War.
Mexican-American War is correct. For your bonus, number 1, during what civil war was Guernica destroyed by German aircraft? Number 2, during what war did Patroclus fall at the hand of Hector? Number 3, this statement is about an incident in what war? The commander of the Argentine troops in Port Stanley surrendered to the British. And number 4, these events occurred in what series of wars? Rome seized Sardinia from Carthage, Hannibal crossed the Alps, Rome destroyed Corinth. Lizzie.
For number 1, we have Spanish. For number 2, we have Trojan. For number 3, we have Falklands. And for number 4, we have Carthaginian.
1, 2, and 3 are correct for 6 points. Number 4, early college.
For number 4, we have the Crusades.
They're called the Punic Wars. Math toss-up. I'll read it twice for you. For a regular polygon with an apothem of 6 centimeters and each of its sides equaling 12 centimeters, what is its area? For a regular polygon with an apothem of 6 centimeters and each of its sides equaling 12 centimeters, what is its area? Austin.
144.
Incorrect. Early college. The answer is 36 square centimeters. Psychology. An acute stress disorder is characterized by anxiety, numbness, and disinterest during the first month after someone experiences or witnesses an event involving the threat of death or injury to oneself or others. If the symptoms continue after the first month, this disorder gets what other related name? Lizzie.
PTSD.
Correct. Or post-traumatic stress disorder. For your bonuses, number 1, pride in oneself or self-respect or a feeling of personal worth is called self-what? Number 2, acupuncture, when used as an anesthetic in surgery, is thought to work by somehow stimulating production of the brain's own painkillers that are called what? Number 3, Sally wants to go to a special camp this summer, but doesn't want to be away from her friends. What 2-word phrase does this motivational psychologist use to describe this quandary? And number 4, in a bipolar disorder, the patient's moods will swing from mania to what other emotional extreme? Lizzie.
For number 1, we have esteem. For number 2, we have endorphins. For number 3, we have separation anxiety. And for number 4, we have depression.
1, 2, and 4 correct for 6 points. Early college, number 3.
For 3, we have homesickness.
It's called approach avoidance. Greek myths. She was the daughter of Asclepius and the personification of the idea of a cure-all. Now her name is a word meaning a remedy for all diseases and difficulties. Name her. Lizzie.
Panacea.
Panacea. Also from mythology, number 1 for your bonus. What adjective indicating something designed to produce conformity comes from the name of a Greek mythical robber who, by lopping off their limbs or stretching them, made his victims exactly fit his bed? Number 2, portrayals of Hermes employ what symbol of his swiftness as a messenger? Number 3, the Trojan prophetess Cassandra suffered under what curse? Number 4, the Corinthian hero Bellerophon was aboard Pegasus when he slew what fire-breathing monster with features of a lion, goat, and serpent?
For number 2, we have winged shoes. And for number 4, we have the chimera.
Those are both correct for 4 points. 1 or 3, early college.
We don't have any.
And at the completion of our match, our final score is Jacksonville 50, Early College 0. In our next game today, Dixon plays Swansboro, so please stay with us for that match.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Miss Nicole Martin, our 2017-18 Onslow County Schools Teacher of the Year. Creative thinker, marvelous teacher, advocate for public education and students, and superhero, Miss Nicole Martin.
Onslow County has just been is just the greatest district that anyone could ever ask to work for. And really, I know we have cameras in here, but you really have to turn it on these students. I mean, I couldn't do anything that I do if it wasn't for my students. My honors class is in here right now. They were working really hard, and some of my student leaders are in here. They work so hard to help make everything possible and to have a supportive principal and a supportive district that really enables us to do everything that we do here in Onslow County.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
And welcome back to High School Academic Derby. Our second match today is between Dixon and Swansboro. We'll meet our coaches and players beginning with the Dixon team. They're coached by Ashley DeMartin. Her players for this round are
Patrice Cade, senior.
Nick Sanders, senior.
Paul Herrera, sophomore.
Chaz Hardy, sophomore.
Swansboro is coached by Christina Golden. Her players are
Josh Marks, senior.
Isabella Willis, junior.
Christina Stair, senior.
Ty Hicks, freshman.
your first toss-up players has to do with time. How many hours do you add to Central Standard Time to convert to Greenwich Mean Time? Nick?
3.
Incorrect. Swansboro? The answer's 6. Your next toss-up deals with theater. What noun referring to a sentimental story is suggested in this segment of a movie review? My tears stuck in their little ducts, refusing to be jerked. Joshua?
Tearjerker.
Correct. For your bonus, number 1, an aspiring actress just completed her audition, and the director invited her to return for a second audition. This second audition after the first cut is known as a what in theater? Number 2, what kind of dramatic productions are these? General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless, One Life to Live. Number 3, many critics agree that the greatest mime of all time is what French performer? Number 4, what famous London theater burned down in 1613 when a cannon employed for special effects misfired and ignited its roof during a performance of Henry VIII? Christina?
For number 1, we have Callback. For number 2, we have Soap Opera. And for number 4, we have The Globe.
Those are all correct for 6 points. How about number 3, Dixon?
No answer.
Marcel Marceau is the name of the mime. Math calculations, so I'll be reading it twice for you. Consider a regular pyramid with a square base, each side of which is 10 inches in length. If it has a slant height of 12 inches, what is its total surface area? Consider a regular pyramid with a square base, each side of which is 10 inches in length. If it has a slant height of 12 inches, what is its total surface area? Joshua?
4,000.
Incorrect. Dixon? The answer is 340 square inches. Marine biology. The 2 types of plankton include the zooplankton and what other? Nick?
Phytoplankton.
Correct. For your bonus, number 1, what form of symbiosis is illustrated by a sea anemone living on a hermit crab's shell, such that the hermit crab is hidden from predators and the anemone gets bits of food dropped by the crab? Number 2, upon what do krill mostly feed? Number 3, brittle stars resemble starfish, but they lack what structures on their arms that starfish use for locomotion? Number 4, in kelp, the holdfast is like a root, the blade is like a leaf, and the stipe is like what other part of a plant? Nick?
For number 1, we have mutualism. For 2, we have algae. For 3, we have suction cups. And 4, we have stem.
1 and 4 are correct for 4 points. Swansboro, 2 or 3?
For 2, we have Plankton.
That is correct for 2 points. The answer to number 3 was tube feet. Your next toss-up deals with the country of South Africa. On an alphabetical list of the South African colonies established by the Boers, which is last? Which is last alphabetically? It's called the Transvaal. Governors. In 1914, Congress confirmed George W. Goethals as the first governor of what 10-mile wide strip of land controlled by the United States? Nick.
Cuba.
Incorrect. Swansboro. The Panama Canal, or Canal Zone. Your next toss-up deals with clauses. What is the function of the noun clause in the following sentence? The members made a request that the closing date for new applications be extended. It's called an appositive, that is, it renames a noun. Math toss-up, I'll read it twice. Express the square root of the quantity 18 divided by 8 as the ratio of two integers. Express the square root of the quantity 18 divided by 8 as the ratio of two integers. Christina.
3/2.
Correct. For your bonus, also dealing with math, number 1, rationalize the denominator in this fraction. 12 divided by the square root of 18. Number 2, what kind of number is the square root of 99? Number 3, dealing with Roman numerals, L divided by the square root of M equals L times the square root of M divided by what? And number 4, what is X if the square root of X minus 3, that's the quantity square root of X, minus, and then close parenthesis, minus 3 equals 4? Christina.
For number 2, we have irrational. For
Any others? Irrational is correct for 2 points. Dixon, 1, 3, or 4? Number 1 is 3 times the square root of 2. Number 3, M. Number 4, 49 is what X equals. That's the end of round 1. We'll come back with round 2 in just a moment.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
And after one round, our score is Swansboro 14, Dixon 6. We have a couple of new players to meet for the Swansboro team, and they are
Benjamin Lagasse, sophomore.
Alejandro Rivera, freshman.
Toss-up number 1 deals with nicknames of famous people. Old Blood and Guts was what World War II general? George Patton. Medical symptoms. What symptom related to spatial perception and stability is associated with disequilibrium, presyncope, and vertigo? Chaz.
Dizziness.
That's right. For your bonus, number 1, old Ed found himself squinting at newspapers held at his arm's length, and the type still appeared blurred. He also had trouble reading anything in dimly lit rooms. These are symptoms of what visual disorder relating to a loss of elasticity of the lenses in the eyes? Number 2, the following are probably symptoms of what? Shortness of breath, radiating pain in one or both arms, nausea and vomiting, heavy sweating, a feeling of intense anxiety, chest pain. Number 3, bleeding of the mucous membranes under the skin and into the joints is symptomatic of what disease associated with insufficient vitamin C in the diet? Number 4, repeated violent involuntary contracting and relaxing of muscles is called a what? Nick.
For number 1, we have farsightedness. For number 2, we have heart attack. For number 3, we have scurvy. And for number 4, we have spasm.
2, 3, and 4 correct for 6 points. Number 1, Swansboro.
We have nothing.
Presbyopia is the answer. Next toss-up deals with Europe. The SNP continues to advocate the independence of what land from the United Kingdom? Chaz.
Ireland.
Incorrect. Christina.
Scotland.
Scotland is correct. For your bonus, number 1, name any British royal house that reigned between the House of Lancaster and the House of Hanover. Number 2, in France, July 14 is also known by what other name referring to a prison in Paris? Number 3, methods used in medieval times to determine guilt included putting an arm in boiling water, submerging people in water, or walking across red-hot iron. These methods were collectively known as trial by what? Number 4, this man pursued an aggressively expansionist policy waging wars against Denmark, Austria, and France, which brought about the unification of Germany. Name this chancellor. Christina.
For 1, we have Stuart. For 2, we have Bastille Day. For 3, we have Fire. And for 4, we have Bismarck.
1, 2, and 4 correct for 6 points. Number 3, Dixon.
Torture.
Trial by ordeal. We needed the word ordeal. Your next toss-up deals with muscles. Moving food through the digestive tract is a function of which of the 3 types of muscle tissue? Alejandro.
Smooth muscle.
Correct. For your bonus, number 1, muscles are never completely relaxed. They remain in a state of partial contraction called what? Number 2, What sphincter muscle separates the stomach from the duodenum? Number 3. What is the term for the end of a voluntary muscle fastened to a bone that does not move? Number 4. Name the contraction phrase of the ventricles. Christina.
For number 1, we have muscle tone. For number 2, we have cardiac. And for number 3, we have tendon.
Number 1 is correct for 2 points. 2, 3, or 4, Dixon?
For 2, we have pyruvate, and for 3, we have ligament.
Pyloric is correct for number 2. Number 3 is origin, and number 4 is systole. The West Indies. The mouths of the Orinoco River are closest to what country in the Lesser Antilles that has a conjunction in its name? Trinidad and Tobago. Medications. What does an antipyretic medication do? Christina.
Prevent fever.
That's correct. For your bonus, number 1, barbiturates are a group of drugs that often become lethal when combined with beverages containing what common substance? Number 2, what is the common name for about 5 grains of acetylsalicylic acid? Number 3, if a prescription reads TID, how many times a day must it be taken? And number 4, what federal agency grants the official approval for a pharmaceutical manufacturer to market a new prescription drug? Christina.
For 1, we have alcohol. For 2, we have hydrochloric acid. For 3, we have 2. And for 4, we have FDA.
1 and 4 are correct for 4 points. 2 or 3, Dixon?
For 2, we have acetic, and for 3, we have 3.
3 is 3, and the answer number 2 was aspirin. That's the end of the second round. We'll come back with the lightning round in just a moment.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
I teach because I love kids. History is something that I do, but the kids are what I love, and they're the biggest reason why I'm here, that building strong relationships and being a good role model for them, that's the most important part of teaching for me.
After 2 rounds, the score is Swansboro 32, Dixon 18. In our lightning round today, all of the answers will begin with the letter F. Ready? State whose capital is Tallahassee. Nick.
Florida.
Correct. A famous house over a cataract designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Political system first practiced by Mussolini in Italy, placing power. Polly.
Fascism.
Correct. Austrian Archduke whose assassination, Alejandra.
Ferdinand.
Yes. European nation whose capital is Helsinki, Christina.
Finland.
Correct. Place where Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, Christina.
Ford Theater.
Right. A cloud that forms on or near the surface of the earth, Nick.
Fog.
Correct. According to a modern proverb, if you want to get a handsome prince, you have to kiss a lot of what? Chaz. Say it again, please.
Frogs.
That's correct. 13th President of the United States. A short story that teaches a moral, usually, Alejandra.
Fable.
Right. American author of The Great Gatsby and Tender is the Night. Chaz.
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
That's right. Common name for iron pyrite based on its color, Christina.
Fool's Gold.
Correct. Americans call it soccer. People in other nations, Catrice.
Football.
Correct. Area of land covered by trees, Catrice.
Forest.
Right. In law, any willful act intended to cheat another by deception or misrepresentation, Catrice.
Fraud.
Correct. Poetry lacking conventional rhyme and meter, Catrice.
Free verse.
Correct. In physics, the collision of two atomic nuclei to create one, Catrice.
Fusion.
Correct. Movable objects and accessories that add to the comfort, beauty, usefulness, or storage capacity of a dwelling. The Central Banking Authority of the United States. Economic, social, and political system in which land is granted in return for financial, political, and military support. Benjamin.
Feudalism.
Correct. Okay, the ones we did not answer. Falling Water was the famous house over a cataract designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Millard Fillmore was the 13th President of the United States. Furniture adds to the comfort, beauty, and usefulness of the dwelling, and the Central Banking Authority of the U.S. is the Federal Reserve Bank or system. We'll come back with our final score in just a moment.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
The final score is Swansboro 44, Dixon 38. Today's final match has Jacksonville returning to take on White Oak, and that's coming up right after this short break.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
Miss Nicole Martin, our 2017-18 Onslow County Schools Teacher of the Year. Creative thinker, marvelous teacher, advocate for public education and students, and superhero, Miss Nicole Martin.
Onslow County has just been, is just the greatest district that anyone could ever ask to work for. And really, I know we have cameras in here, but you really have to turn it on these students. I mean, I couldn't do anything that I do if it wasn't for my students. My honors class is in here right now. They were working really hard. And some of my student leaders are in here. They work so hard to help make everything possible and to have a supportive principal and a supportive district that really enables us to do everything that we do here in Onslow County.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
And welcome back to High School Academic Derby, brought to you by the Onslow County Schools. In our final match today, White Oak takes on Jacksonville. Let's meet our coaches and players, starting with White Oak, coached by Ashley Baker. Her players are
Jael Encarnacion, junior.
Chris Cooney, senior.
John Latzis, sophomore.
Brandon Barnett, freshman.
The Jacksonville coach is Tony Zernheld, and his players are
Austin Darty, senior.
Julia Nazat, junior.
Lizzie Coleman, senior.
Kale Quintero, senior.
We're going to start out with a math toss-up that I'll read twice for you, players. What is the total surface area of a rectangular solid 4 feet by 4 feet by 6 feet? What is the total surface area on a rectangular solid 4 feet by 4 feet by Austin?
48 feet.
Incorrect. Jael.
144 feet.
128 square feet. Your next toss-up deals with songs. What song won the 2017 Grammy for Song of the Year? The answer is Hello. Humanities. Name the Mexican muralist who created murals for public buildings under the Fine Arts section of the Works Progress Administration. Lizzie.
Orozco.
Incorrect. White Oak. Diego Rivera. Performing arts. What do you call a person hired to play a background role in a motion picture? Brandon.
Understudy.
Incorrect. Jacksonville. Lizzie.
An extra.
An extra is correct. For your bonus, number 1, in what kind of theater are plays presented on a stage completely surrounded by the audience? Number 2, it is imperative for sword swallowers to suppress what reflex? Number 3, what Latin phrase indicates what an actor does when he substitutes lines made up on the spot for those he has forgotten? Number 4, what letter of the alphabet indicates a low-budget, second-tier movie that is cheaper to produce because it does not involve the most highly paid actors or costly sets and locations?
For number 2, we have gag. For number 3, we have ad lib. And for number 4, we have B.
Those are all correct for 6 points. White Oak, number 1.
We have nothing.
Number 1 is Theater in the Round. Classical music. The works of what Greek dramatist inspired these musical compositions? Oedipus Tyrannus, Oedipus Colonus. Lizzie?
Sophocles.
Sophocles is correct. And for your bonuses, also dealing with music, number 1, the Polonaise is a formal Polish dance that dates back to the 16th century. What Polish composer wrote 15 polonaises for solo piano? Number 2, compositions in which a single musical theme is repeated over and over, but modified each time in melody, harmony, rhythm, or texture are called what? Number 3, name the Czechoslovakian composer especially noted for a symphony in which he incorporated many melodies inspired by American folk songs. Number 4, Handel's oratorio Belshazzar is about the last king of what ancient nation on the Euphrates River? Lizzie?
For number 1, we have Chopin. For number 2, we have Variation. For number 3, we have Dvorak.
Those are all correct for 6 points. Number 4, White Oak?
For number 4, we have Babylon.
Babylon is correct for 2 points. Math toss-up, and I'll read it twice for you. Convert the radian measure 9 pi divided by 5 to degrees. Convert the radian measure 9 pi divided by 5 to degrees. Time's up, players, and the answer is 324. Your next toss-up deals with the sun. The phrases solar minimum and solar maximum refer to what observable phenomena on the sun's surface? Lizzie?
Solar flares.
Incorrect. White Oak? Sunspots is the answer. Economics. In relation to income tax, you can claim Joe as what if these tests are passed? Joe must be a citizen, must be an immediate relative, his gross income must be less than the exemption amount, and you must contribute over half of Joe's support. Cale?
Dependent.
Correct. For your bonus, number 1, for what does the abbreviation stand in this? MNCs are business entities that operate in more than one country. Number 2, when doing your income taxes, what is the term for these kinds of expenditures? Charitable contributions, interest payments, medical payments, payments to a retirement account. Number 3, what is the term for the first model of a new product to be further developed and refined before being released to the public for sale? And number 4, instead of a VAT or value added tax, what does the United States use?
For number 1, we have multinational corporation. For number 2, we have tax deductible. And for number 3, we have prototype.
Those are all correct for 6 points. Number 4, White Oak?
We have nothing.
Sales tax. Trees. Of the 2 kinds of giant trees found in California, which species has bark that is sometimes 3 feet thick? The answer, the giant sequoia. And that's the end of round 1. We'll come back with a score in round 2 in just a moment.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
And our score is Jacksonville 24, White Oak 2. We have some new players to meet for White Oak.
Juliana Ortiz, sophomore.
Jordan Jackson, sophomore.
Toss-up number 1 deals with the colonial period. In 1767, as many as 10,000 of Boston's population of 16,000 marched at the funeral procession of 5 men killed by British fire in an incident that came to be known as what? John?
Boston Massacre.
Correct. Here are your bonus questions. Number 1, an attempt in 1763 by Indians of the Ohio and Great Lakes country to expel the whites was led by what Ottawa chief, whose name later was appropriated by the maker of the Firebird? Number 2, what war that began in 1711 involved the Tuscarora Indians and white settlers in North Carolina? Number 3, name any one of the 3 states that include territory that was once part of the New Sweden colony. Number 4, Philip, whose Indian name was Metacom, led the Wampanoag Indians and joined with Narragansett and Nipmuc allies in 1675 to wage a brutal guerrilla war against settlements of what English Protestants? Chris.
For number 1, we have King Philip. For number 3, we have Hawaii. And for number 4, we have Puritans.
I'll accept Puritans or Pilgrims for number 4 for 2 points, 1, 2, or 3, Jacksonville.
For number 1, we have Pontiac, and for number 3, we have North Carolina.
Pontiac is correct for number 1. The answer to number 2 was the Tuscarora War, and the 3 states to pick from were Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Another math that we'll read twice. Express as a base 4 numeral the age at which a person can vote in the U.S. Express as a base 4 numeral the age at which a person can vote in the U.S. And the answer is 102. Your next toss-up deals with electrons. When sodium metal comes in contact with chlorine gas, the sodium atom gives an electron to chlorine, resulting in the formation of 2 charged particles called what? Ions. Ions is the answer. The Civil War. Union prisoners suffered from torture, overcrowding, and starvation, and about 13,000 died in what Confederate prison in Georgia? Lizzie.
Andersonville.
Correct. Were your bonuses? Number 1, what Civil War general got his middle name from the Shawnee chief Tecumseh? Number 2, complete this slogan from the Civil War era that arose because both the North and the South had provisions in their draft laws allowing for substitutions and exemptions. And that slogan was, a rich man's war and a poor man's blank. Number 3, Confederate vessels that had been illegally provided by Great Britain destroyed or captured some 250 Union merchant ships during the Civil War. In 1869, the U.S. made claims against Britain for this damage in a case involving what famous raiding ship named after a Confederate state. Number 4, Grant's victory in the siege of what fortified town gave the Union Army control of the Mississippi River and effectively split the Confederacy.
For number 1, we have Sherman, and for number 2, we have Fight, and that's it.
Those both are correct for 4 points. White Oak, 3 or 4?
For number 3, we have Mississippi.
3 is Alabama, and number 4, the city was Vicksburg. Toss-up dealing with dance, and I'll try to pronounce this French phrase. In ballet, what is a pas de quatre? Q-U-A-T-R-E. It's a dance for 4 dancers. Historical novels. For her rich and truly epic descriptions of peasant life in China, and for her biographical masterpieces, what daughter of a missionary family became the first American woman to win a Nobel Prize? Lizzie.
Pearl Buck.
Correct. Here are your bonuses. Number 1, what Alexander Dumas novel begins with this? On the 24th of February, 1815, the lookout of Notre Dame de la Garde signaled the three-master, the Pharaon, from Smyrna. As usual, a pilot put off immediately and, rounding the Chateau d'If, got on board the vessel between Cape Morgion and the Isle of Rion. Number 2, waves 10 feet high, hurricane force winds, waves 10 stories high, hurricane force winds, long line swordfish fishermen, bad omens, air rescue teams, heroism, and abiding fear are all parts of what gripping account by Sebastian Junger. Number 3, this is from what book published in 1906? It was too dark in the storage places to see well, but a man could run his hand over the piles of meat and sweep off handfuls of the dried dung of rats. The packers would put poisoned bread out for the rats. Then the dead rats, bread, and meat would all go into the same hoppers together. Number 4, these novels are about what series of European wars? Richard Plantagenet, Margaret of Anjou, Crown of Roses, the Tudor Rose, the Rose in Spring, White Rose, Dark Summer, the Rose both red and white.
For number 1, we have the Three Musketeers. For number 3, we have The Jungle. And for number 4, we have The War of the Roses.
3 and 4 correct for 4 points. 1 or 2, White Oak?
We have neither.
Number 1 is The Count of Monte Cristo. Number 2, The Perfect Storm. That's the end of round 2. We'll come back with a lightning round right after this.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
Our score after 2 rounds is Jacksonville 38, White Oak 6. In today's lightning round, I will give you the name of a college or university. You will tell me their sports team name. Ready? North Carolina State University. Lizzie.
Wolfpack.
Correct. University of Alabama. Austin.
Rolling Tide.
Say it again.
Rolling Tide.
Incorrect. Duke University. Kale.
Blue Devils.
Correct. University of Notre Dame. Chris.
Fighting Irish.
That's right. Wake Forest University. University of Texas. The University of Kansas. Austin.
Jayhawks.
Correct. The University of Michigan. Pennsylvania State University. Harvard. Temple University. Kale.
Owls.
Correct. The University of Wisconsin. Austin.
Badgers.
Right. Clemson University. Chris.
Rolling Tide.
Incorrect. The Ohio State University. Kale.
Buckeyes.
Correct. Princeton University. Western Carolina University. Sorry, too much time on that one. The University of Southern California. Kale.
Trojans.
Correct. The University of Richmond. East Carolina University. Kale.
Pirates.
Right. Purdue University. Austin.
Boilermakers.
Right. Okay, the ones we did not get. University of Alabama is the Crimson Tide. Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons. The University of Texas, known as the Longhorns. Michigan Wolverines. The Penn State Nittany Lions. The Harvard Crimson. Princeton is called the Tigers, as is Clemson. The Western Carolina group is the Catamounts, and Richmond the Spiders. We'll come back with our final score right after this.
Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair. Join us for the College Fair on Wednesday, October 25th at Northside High School. Middle school students are welcome from 5:30 to 6 p.m. and high school students from 6 to 8 p.m. Representatives from over 60 colleges will help answer all of your questions about applying, tuition, and college life. So we'll see you at the College Fair.
And the final score today is Jacksonville 58, White Oak 10. As you know, High School Academic Derby is brought to you by the Onslow County School System. We thank you for watching today and invite you to our next set of matches, in which Northside will play Swansboro and then Southwest. Southwest, in turn, will come back to take on Richlands. Until then, thanks for watching and have a good evening.